Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another crazy, fun Red Bull Sharp and Saw coaching morning. I am, of course, your host, Will Cooper. Glad to be with you. Thanks for making it a priority. I'm not going to waste much time with, the small talk. We're going to get right into it, okay? Two things today. So as far as like bread for the head, we're going to do Ingredients of a Victory by Neil Peart. It's from a song he wrote called The One Little Victory, and Joe's got it teed up to play when we're ready. And we're also going to talk about legal assets. So go ahead and grab your chat. Let's start off with these legal assets. Yesterday, I took a call from an agent that is dealing with a commission objection with a buyer. Okay, so buyer client, 2% BAC. How do we handle it? That was the call. So, there's a lot of different ways to handle this. I mean, we've got a lot of different things we could talk about. There's a million doorways. But I want to specifically go to legal assets. I want to talk about the complexities of the business. Let me tell you how I got there. So here's the running start. I said to our agent, I said, you got to slow down. You're going to have to talk about the details of the transaction. And if you don't show problem, then you're never going to have a solution to the problem. If you don't have a solution to a problem, you have no value. So if you have no value, then 2% is just like 3%. And it's all about you. It's your selfish agent. You're not about you represent your client. And it puts us in a really bad place. Okay, so let's just go right back up. Okay, we've got to talk about the complexities. Well, what are we doing to help people win bids, negotiate the offer, enter the right proper contract, be just aggressive enough to win the bid, but not too risky, where we say too much or obligate our buyer too much. So grab your chat. I want to see where we are this morning. I told Mark O'Brien I'm going to do a test to see how well we know this without looking in your forms manual, without looking it up. I want you to write in the chat any internal written addendum that the brokerage has created. What do we created here at Brookshire for you to use that's not UAR? Okay, it's not a state approved form. Well, not state that's a weird way to say it. Like it's not approved. No, it's just not a state authored form. So let's see how well you know it. Okay, so already we got Rachel with escalation and Janet with escalation. Okay, Tara, appraisal. So that meaning that we can pay. What happens if we have another competing offer? We escalate our price above the competing offer. The appraisal is cash above appraisal. Jill, there's a couple of different earnest money ones. So how do we handle that one? So I'll give you probably the easier of the two. There is non-refundable earnest money. Yeah, Rachel, you got it. Non-refundable earnest money. And then there's another one dealing with earnest money. So keep them coming. And let me mark the ones we've got. I've got a little list here. Yeah, we got non-refundable. We have escalation. And what was the other one? Oh, what else did we say? Appraisal. What else you got, guys? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more. Kevin Larson, you can't play. my A student, of course, overstudied. Yeah, holding earnest money for buyer represented by another company. Yes, Kevin, that was the harder one. Okay, so that one is earnest money held by seller's brokerage. Okay, so be held here. Rachel, non-refundable earnest money released to seller upon acceptance. Yes, we already, yeah, I got that one. Let's see. And Jessica, yeah, the buyer due diligence addendum. That's a checklist addendum that has disclosures in it. We got that one. I don't see, I'm going through the chat here. Okay, we're still missing 1, 2, 3, We're still missing 3. I'm gonna take a stab. Anybody? I need the Jeopardy clock sound, you know. Anybody else want to take a stab? No? You're like, Will, tell us. Neurons ready. Okay. You don't know. Okay, here we go. Well, the one we're missing is we have an authorization to hold earnest money or transfer earnest money from one to another. So if we ever have earnest money that's being sent to the brokerage without an offer, so it's pre-acceptance of a REPC, then we would need this form. And if we're going to fail one sale, but hang on to the earnest money in the trust account and move it to another one, then we would also need this form. So there's the authorization to hold or transfer earnest money. Okay. Here's another really big one. And I'm surprised it wasn't mentioned, but it's the no financing condition. No financing condition is, and by the, would you guys like a list? Do you want a list? Yes, not? Okay. I'll give you a list as soon as we've got it completed. But the no financing condition is, frankly, was born out of this idea that the iBuyer program, iBuyer programs are designed to take, like a bridge concept of, I own a house, I want to buy one. I want to make you a shopper that doesn't have a condition, to sale. So from the lender is jumping into this and saying, I can solve this by empowering you to move forward without a condition. So Mark and I tackled this and looked at it from a legal standpoint. Like how do we make an offer compete against cash offers where the buyer may actually get financing? But what they're trying to say to the seller is, I'm not interested in canceling because of financing. I'm willing to sacrifice my earnest money if I do. In other words, I'm betting my earnest money right from the start that I can get this loan. So it evens the playing field against cash offers. It's called no financing condition. The important ingredient in that addendum is that it has protections against the lawsuit of performance. Okay, so cash offer doesn't perform, they could be sued for performance. An offer that's written with a condition of financing, with the language of the REPC, the seller has to accept as liquidated damages the earnest money only and cannot sue. So we have protections in there against that situation, okay? So that is the no financing condition. We missed the COVID addendum. That's the old one, no one wants to talk about, old news, but you never know. It's still there. It deals with the legal issue of force majeure, which contractually means that there are times in contracts where the performance is impossible and it's unreasonable to expect a party to perform under some circumstances. Normally, these are like, acts of God or, weather conditions, tornadoes, earthquakes, floods that are unforeseen, fire, and even pandemics fall in this force majeure concept. Okay, so we have language for that, and you may need that at some point. So I hope you don't, but if you do, it's there. Okay, that gives us, well, I've got another one. I said I'm not going to talk about it today. It's an assignment of interest. It was something that we did specifically for a development up in Park City where we have buyer number 1 is wanting to sell to buyer number 2. The project has taken about 2 years to perform under and have product ready to close. These first buyers are scheduled to close December. They've been under contract for a couple of years. Now they want to sell their interest and sell the property, which of course we can do that with the right legal language, okay? But that one is not necessarily in circulation for all of us to use because it's project specific. All right, so that leaves us with 8 legal assets, okay? You want me to give them to you again, like so you can write them down, or is this good? Tara, yes? Doug, yes? Okay. So in no particular order, but number 1 is authorization to hold or transfer earnest money. Let you write that one down. Number 2 is earnest money held by seller's brokerage. Just a real quick reminder on that one. you represent your seller client. Why do we, look, this is to protect us against it being held at a title company and having to get all signatures to release it. Sometimes in transactions that it's very sensitive, deposits that are critical and material to the transaction, we've determined that we do not want that money having to go through a process of obtaining another signature. The REPC does not say you have to get another signature, so it's a conflict with the Insurance Commission rule and law. So here we have an addendum that addresses that. Okay, it protects your seller client. There are times we hold that earnest money at our trust account. Number 3, buyer due diligence checklist addendum. This is a fantastic form to be used inside the buyer consultation meeting, where you go through, literally read the paragraph. Like you would just read it, and you'd go through strategies in which to win bids, but the protections and the strategy in which we may employ, and then you educate them so they can use their own choice, okay, on which strategies we employ. You must use that in the buyer consultation. Number 4 is non-refundable earnest money upon acceptance. And really, we think about it upon acceptance, but really that's impossible, right? Acceptance happens in a fraction of a second. So you have to have language around this. If you ever write non-refundable earnest money upon acceptance, you're getting yourself in serious trouble, okay? Because, what kind of earnest money is it? You have to address that. So we do in that addendum, okay? Number 5, no financing condition. A great way to compete against cash offers. Again, there's language there to protect us against lawsuits for performance. Number 5, if you want to pay over and above appraisal and the buyer is willing to pay cash above appraisal, in other words, they've done their research, they know what the property is worth, they don't need an appraiser telling them what it's worth, and they're willing to pay more, and they'd pay it in cash, again, to compete against other offers. This usually ties in with the escalation clause, right? Because your price may escalate. Well, what about what it appraises for? Who's going to make up that difference? That's a great way to compete. And yes, we're still seeing multiple offers in our lower price points. Number 7, escalation clause. This particular escalation clause deals with the net to the seller, not the gross price. It's better option for you than the UAR form. Trust me. Well, you already know that. You don't have to trust me. I hope you trust me, but you don't have to trust me to already know that fact. Okay. And then we have the COVID addendum that wraps out our 8 legal assets. I hope that you take some time to memorize them, know them, commit them to memory, right? You should be able to present them upside down to a client and teach and present from the form. If you do this, you are slowing down, you are showing the complexities, you're going to show problem and solution and value just innately, all right? So I advise you to do that. I know many of you get tired of me saying this. I've said it a million times. You did pretty well today on knowing what some of those assets are. They can also be found, of course, in .loop, in our templates, in Berkshire Hathaway forms. And I hope that you are using your forms manual to study and memorize these forms. It's a huge, huge benefit to you. Okay, whew, that was a lot. Take a deep breath. Here, let me just, I gotta, it's a lot of words. Just self-entertaining here, guys, really, Okay, want to turn the channel? Any questions about those? Actually, let's open it up for that before I turn the channel to another topic. I mean, look, every morning I wake up and go, how can I help you guys? And so often we've got to talk about the complexities of our business. Every time you shortcut it, every time, we don't talk about the process of buying a home and the complexities, people just think that it's easy. Let me give you an example. I think I understand, and I'm going to say, I hope I don't hurt anyone's feelings here. Because frankly, I cannot remember the agent that said it, but there was a post on Facebook, one of our own agents, and it said, sold. Okay. And what the agent wrote is like something like, and just like that, sold. Okay. And I get it. I mean, wow, that's crazy that it happened so quickly. But did we also communicate that it was easy? Yeah. Unfortunately, that's exactly what we did. We just told everybody that looked at that image that selling a house today is a piece of cake. It's just like that. And just like that, the house sells, right? Well, no wonder we get commission objections. Folks, you know I love you. If you don't choose your words better to describe really the truth about the business, then you're creating your own commission objections. I know it's unintentional, but you're doing it, right? It's never just like that. We've just moved the battlefront, right? I mean, look, all of these addenda that I just went over with you, that was all created in the last 12 months because of this market. Not one agent on here had to write a check to an attorney at $275 an hour to do any of that, and neither did your client. But it happened because it was the best thing for us to service our client, and it's the Berkshire way to protect them at a higher level, and all of that as an asset to them. Anyway, there's like, sorry if I get preachy, or I really don't mean to be. It's a problem when you're passionate about something and you know it will really help you. Okay. So the story of yesterday, our agent did reach out to the buyer and did slow down, talked about, you know, what their role is going to be in this entire process. And they did agree to make up the difference in the 1%. And we wrote an addendum to that to put it in the sales price. And they understood the value of working with a Berkshire agent. So I'm waiting to hear today if that gets accepted and where we are there. It's not going to be far-fetched for you to come up against low BACs, and we've talked about that almost ad nauseum in other coaching sessions, right? So there's one particular doorway you can go down, which is the legal asset discussion and how to win bids and strategies and things like that on the construction of the contract. Okay. Comments, questions, anything? Good stuff. You got Labor Day weekend hangover? A little bit. Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna turn the channel now. So Joe, get ready to spin that. If you don't mind, you guys turn your volume up if you can. I'm gonna have Joe play a song in just a minute, but let me tell you about it. Go to page in your coaching manual. Go to page 194. 194. Last week you heard me say the thing that always gets me the most is when a human being has a long difficult challenge and somehow they find a way to transcend that challenge. And it seems like the longer it is, the harder it is, the more naysayers they have, the more people saying, you know, you can't do it, and even themselves not believing, the more inspiring it is when they finally transcend the problem and the challenge. This is, look, you guys know I'm a big Rush fan, okay? No, I hope that's not a surprise to anybody. I mean, it comes up. All right, it comes up. Well, why do I love this band? Well, I love this band. There's 3 members of the band. They've been basically friends since they were teenagers. They're a band from Canada. They did it the hard way. They write really hard music to copy, frankly. Many times as a young man, I tried to play their songs and couldn't, and wanted to give up. They're really hard. Their time signatures are challenging. So it's a rock band, I guess you could say, if you don't know who they are. Recently, Neil Peart did pass away last January, about a year or so, I guess 2 years would be this January coming up. He passed away of brain cancer. He's a phenomenal drummer and a phenomenal lyricist. And so just real quickly, I'll tell you the story. Let me see if I have the book. 1 second. I do. Okay. I do have it. Okay, here it is. So, so Neil Peart loses his daughter at age 16 in a car accident. And he only had one child, his wife, and it was just his wife and daughter. And he loses his only child in a car accident. And about 9 months later, his wife dies of cancer, leaving him alone. He writes a book called Ghost Rider. There's the book. He goes out on his BMW motorcycle and he travels 55,000 miles on this motorcycle trying to find himself again. And of course, Rush is a huge band, very, very successful, packing, concert venues, really throughout the world. Probably best known for their song, Tom Sawyer, songs maybe like Red Barchetta, Fly By Night, Spirit of the Radio, some of their top hits, or Closer to the Heart, maybe you know them. Anyway, he hits the road to try to find himself, and he's gone for years and writes this book. And no one really, frankly, he says that he was suicidal. Although he never really said, well, like, I want to kill myself, but he said he wouldn't mind if his motorcycle crashed and, that ended his life. So, he really wasn't too concerned about himself. So he just left. Interesting fact about Utah, he loved the town of Moab, Rachel. He was there many, many times. He said it was one of his favorite towns. Talks about him just being a guy in a hat in a motorcycle outfit. He loved the Red Rock. He loved he said it was very soothing to think about the age of geography that was around him. That it's really hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years old, and it was somehow soothing to him. And he loved Moab. Well, this went on for years, and his bandmates never heard from him, only by postcard. Every once in a while, I'd get like a random postcard. I mean, months and months and months separated these communication events where they wondered if he was even alive. He was just a credit card and a motorcycle, and he went all the way through America, ocean to ocean, down into Mexico, South America, really just trying to lose himself. And he did describe it as kind of like putting a baby in a car and how it's soothing, the motion just soothes the soul. So it's really, really hard what he went through. He's very alone. And well, he finally gets the gumption enough to, it's been 5 years, by the way, 5 years. And Rush is done, as far as the bandmates are concerned. Neil is in no place to ever play again. They were kind of coming, I guess, resigned to the fact that this is the band's end, this is how it is. And it was great, right? They would say they had an amazing story, so maybe that's the last chapter. Well, he finally calls up his bandmates and he says something like this. He goes, maybe, possibly, I might consider potentially, possibly, getting back, and maybe, this is kind of how he was talking. And of course, so the bandmates, Geddy and Alex, were very tender with Neil and knew there was a lot bigger things going on than the band getting back together. It's just his life, like, are you okay? They're very good friends. But Neil tells the story about him being so delicate and trying to come back and how fragile he was. And he was nervous. What could he be as good as he was before? He knows he's a very smart guy. Some people even called Neil like a professor. That was his nickname. The lyrics he wrote were very complicated, big words, and it took rock fans that were pretty simple people grabbing a dictionary, looking things up. That's what Neil Peart did to rock fans, and he was wondering if he could ever do it again. So, and everybody wondered that, I think, a little bit. So look at this song, and then I'll have Joe play it. So these are the lyrics from the song. He he starts to try to write out what he calls the ingredients of victory. And the title of the song is One Little Victory. And, you know, so often in our lives, we know little things really matter, just tiny little things that take seconds really matter. And they make a huge impact in our lives and those around us. Well, this is Neil's definition of a victory. So I'll go through those. I'll just read them there on that page 194. A certain measure of innocence, willing to appear naive, and a certain degree of imagination, a measure of make-believe, a certain degree of surrender to the forces of light and heat, a shot of satisfaction, and a willingness to risk defeat. So already he's pulling out some things here, like, can you be creative enough to have an idea? And I've talked about this before, that this is what I call hope. Hope is an idea, a vision in our minds of what might be, could become. But it's lacking yet in the stage of whether or not we believe it or not. So kind of like then he's surrendering to the forces of light and heat. To me, this means that there's going to be influences on this. Like anything you're going to want to do, you're going to have to go up against science and nature and just the fact that we live on this planet the way that it is. I mean, there's going to be things that are going to resist your motion forward. A shot of satisfaction, I suppose, if you don't celebrate your little victories along the way, then you may find your tank empty. So, and this idea of risking defeat, just aside, I listened to a podcast by Steve Jobs just as I was traveling back and forth from St. George. And, you know, he knew he was going to die. And he just kind of woke up every morning and said, you know, what do I have to lose? I mean, really, you know, everyone's time on this planet is short. It could be tomorrow, you know, heaven forbid. It could be too soon, heaven forbid. But, you know, if it is, what do you have to lose? So I think Neil's asking us this. I mean, are we willing to risk a defeat, you know, in this journey to what we want? So the chorus is celebrate the moment as it turns into one more. Another chance at victory, another chance to score. A measure of the moment is a difference of degree. Just one little victory, the spirit breaking free. Certainly, Neil's spirit broke free. He found it somewhere out there in that 55,000 miles alone. He found a way to come back. And it took 5 years and 55,000 miles. And he found a way. And so this one little victory, the greatest act can be one little victory. So, and I think that's kind of, it's playing on, you know, the scene of life, the chapter of life. The greatest thing you could do is one little victory. Certainly there's an amount of resistance. There's to the force of life and love, and a certain measure of tolerance and a willingness to rise above. So he writes this song out of this experience. It's like he's writing it to himself. This is what happened to him, and he's coaching himself. So now we're going to get to the song and the music of it. And this is now he's a drummer. So if you don't have to know a lot about music here, but the tempo is crazy, fast, it's complicated. The time signature is not 4/4. This drives women nuts because you can't dance to it very well. It's really, really hard to dance to. It's kind of why guys tend to like Rush more than girls. If you go to a Rush concert, there's about 15 to 20% women and the rest are men. So, yeah. And for those girls who do go to Rush concerts and like them, on behalf of all the men there, we sure love you. So, yes, Jody. Okay, Joe, go ahead and spin this. You guys turn your volumes up and listen to what Neil's signature comeback drumming piece is as he makes a statement about where he is, where he was. He's coming back. This is his statement to everybody. Go ahead. Okay, Joe, you can fill it. Okay. Wow. Right? That's his statement coming back. Are you kidding? Impressive, right? What an amazing guy. I mean, the world really lost an incredible human being, very creative man, very inspiring, an amazing life story. He did end up getting remarried, you guys. He moved to California. They did a show, it was called Rush, R40 is what they called it. It's their 40th anniversary tour. It was their last. They extended it a few little times, added a few more shows. The band is, well, right now they're like what, 68, I think. Yeah, 60. I mean, they're, there's a lot of bands still going at that age. I think they would have preferred to, obviously, but what an amazing comeback. I mean, this drummer said, I'm back, like I did this. It took 5 years. 5 years. He didn't even touch a drum kit. The story's been documented. There is a document. If any of you guys are interested to dive into this story, it's a video. It's a movie called Beyond the Lighted Stage. Beyond the Lighted Stage. It's the story of Rush, and he tells this story about coming back, and it's just amazing. He ends up writing the book about his journey through all of this and the places and towns he goes to and the lessons that he learns along the way. There is a song called Ghost Rider on the album that they came back with, and very inspiring. I suppose that this is why I'm a Rush fan. I mean, I'm also a sports fan for the same kind of reasons. I love to watch and learn from other human beings who've transcended very challenging, difficult obstacles of life and find a way past it. Because like I said last week, when I see the strength in you, I see the strength in me. It reminds me of the strength in me when I see it in you. And if Neil can do it and under those circumstances, look, some of you guys know that I spent 5 years as a bishop. I can tell you that in that time, serving in that capacity, that the hardest thing I've ever seen anyone have to go through is losing a child. By far. It is the hardest thing ever. It's really challenging to watch people do this. So here this man loses his only daughter unexpectedly in a car accident, and then has to deal with losing his wife. That's really going to be a tough challenge for any human being. And to come back with a statement like this that kind of says to the world, I know about what it takes to have victories. I know the ingredients. I found them. And it took me 5 years to do it, is really inspiring. So I hope that, really we just learn from it. That's all. Just look at our own lives. I hope that none of us have to go through that deep of a challenge. Some of you on this coaching session right now have had to go through some of those challenges, unfortunately. And my heart breaks for everyone who's had to deal and cope with that, because it's a level of grief that's extremely heavy. And I applaud those who've got the strong enough shoulders and mentality to transcend it, because it's very inspiring. So what I hope is we just look at our lives, we enjoy and love each other every day. I've said with our clients that we should lead with our heart. We should understand why home matters to them, what goes on inside the walls of a home. There's very special eternal memories created in the walls of a home. And that's why we do this. Now we've got to get there. We got to take them home. And how do we do that? How do we find someone a home and help them chapter out of one into another? And it's hard and it's difficult, but that's the reason we lead with our heart. Wow. If I keep talking, I'm just going to end up sobbing here again on a coaching call, and it's embarrassing. So, this is what, look, hey, Colton, listen, one day you're gonna have daughters, okay? And when you have daughters, they rub off on you, and then you become really sensitive and you cry at everything. That's what happens. I'm just telling you, man, it's in your future. I mean, I used to be a lot more masculine, you know? Yeah. And now it's like, you know, anyway, anytime I get too sensitive, I try to make jokes. See, that's how I cope, and make light of it. But anyway, I think this stuff does matter. It does matter that we stay, you know, very human. We get family when we're dealing with our clients. On a level, last week we talked about, we actually returned to this page for a second. Let's tie into something and see if there is anything that might speak to you. Go back to, what page was it? Hold on one second. It was the personal best. Where was that? Oh, 182. On page 182, you know, I'm kind of asking you guys to just analyze your life on something that you might want to challenge yourself to do. And we put some categories like life, business, family, health, spiritual. You know, what are some things you could do? This is really just you against you. This is not you against anyone else. It's just you picking something that might you could do better. Every time I say you could do better, I always feel like it's kind of like I'm prompted to remind us that please don't look at the plateau above you as some condemnation that you're not good enough, that you're chasing perfection that you'll never reach. And so this mountain never ends, and therefore you'll never be happy because you never get there. That's really not how to look at the next plateau. The next plateau should be inspiring and uplifting and happy and sunshine. If it's pushing you down, when you feel like you're not good enough, you're really looking at it wrong. And don't be too hard on yourself. You know, I mean, we can sometimes be really, really hard on ourselves. That's normally when I'm having a one-on-one and I'm coaching with someone, I would say, well, how do you feel about that? And if they feel heavy, then we're usually trying this perfectionism concept, and it doesn't work. You know, it saps you of your happiness and your self-esteem. And so it's often comparing, you know, that's the thing that gets in the way, is that we look at everybody else and say, yeah, but they did, or, you know, and why not me, and that kind of thing. And the idea of a personal best is for you just to compete against you. So it's your best at whatever category. So I would encourage you to pick something and see if you can apply, you know, this idea of little victories. What are the little things that could be huge victories? So you want to, well, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's do an example. Either unmute yourself or put in the chat simple little things that take seconds or a minute that would have a huge impact on you and someone else. What are one little victories that you could do, you know, like on a daily basis, weekly basis, that would change your life for the better? Want to give me some ideas? Yes, Leslie, thanking others. Not taking anyone for granted, making your bed. Very good. There's a lot to that, Colton. A lot to that. Some of you probably heard the speech from the general that said, you know, make your bed. It's a military concept. Make your bed. You know, the rest of the day you did that, and it builds upon itself. Very good. Waking up earlier, which means Scott going to bed a little earlier, right? I love that one. Simple thing. Smile. In the book, Win Friends and Influence People, one of the very simple things to do is to smile. This got a little comical. I just tell you really quickly. Some of you know that I go to church meetings. I don't like church meetings. You guys, I really don't like church meetings. Okay. Do you know how hard it is for me to sit in a church meeting? Like near impossible. But I would find my way. I look around and it looked like everybody was miserable at some of these meetings, like miserable. So I just told myself, I'm smiling, you know, I'm smiling. I didn't ask for this, but about 2 years later, I got called to be a bishop. Okay. Whoops. but I really like that, Ron. Thank you so much. Smiling at strangers, very nice, Kimmy. Sticky notes on your mirror that you are worth it. I love that. You are worth it. We have no idea our value. You know, our maker does. And I'm telling you, we have no idea. We're amazing. Each one of us are incredible. So thank you for that, Christina. Angie, having gratitude. And if you guys know Angie Larkin, she's so good at having gratitude. Follow her. She's a great example of that. Melinda, smiling, very good. Jody, gratitude with a smile. Reminding others of their value, worth, love to you. Very, very good, Doug. All those things really matter. I thought of one this morning only because it's my daughter's birthday. But, you know, I look, I go on Facebook every day to see whose birthday it is. I try to connect on some level, not just say happy birthday. Lately, I've been asking everybody what their birthday meal is, which is kind of interesting, you know, but it's personal. Like, what did you choose to have like for dinner? I mean, actually, Annie Mead in the Bountiful office said spaghetti. Like, that was her big birthday dinner. It was spaghetti. So I thought, well, that's interesting. Yesterday, Julie Matthews' birthday, she was at some restaurant, and I can't remember what, but apparently that was supposed to be enough for me to know what she was having. She just said the restaurant. But it's been, you know, I really do care about the relationships that I have with all of you. And you know, there's a lot of us. And so you try to have little personal connections. And how do I do that? So I just made it a goal to just sincerely wish everyone a happy birthday. It's a simple little thing. It takes maybe a minute or two. It's not a big deal as far as the time invested, but I hope that it has the reminder that they're noticed, they matter, that friendships matter, and that I consider them to be a friend. Today is my daughter's birthday, and it's also Kim Dixon's birthday. And actually, just on a, you know, having little personal connections, here, let me just show you something really quickly. Okay, so this is my granddaughter, Logan, wishing her Aunt Maddie a happy birthday. And then I'll tell you what happy birthday, Mattis. I know, it's like, okay, Will, grandkids, okay. They're the best. So I just had this idea that I was going to get Logan, my granddaughter, to wish Kim Dixon a happy birthday because it was so dang cute. So my daughter says, Dad, there's a $20 performance fee. But I got the video, and I'm going to go send it now on to Kim Dixon to wish her happy birthday. So simple, little, tiny little thing. Doesn't take a whole lot of time, makes a huge difference. One little victories, they really matter. They're big in our life and everyone else's. Imagine though, if we kind of took this real heartfelt, sincere approach to our clients and their friends and family, and we just care about them. And there's no agenda, like I'm doing this because I have to make a sale. You know, like you just remove that. You just do it because you care. If we were better at that, first of all, I think we'd be a lot happier, you know, and we wouldn't be chasing the commission. But I have to admit something. It's a lot easier to do when you financially don't need the sale. And I think that's going to speak to how you manage your money. Please make sure you stay, you know, low debt as possible. Live way below your means. Don't overextend yourself, because you should be able to walk into a transaction not thinking about how you get paid and when you'll get paid and how much it is. So you have to be able to walk away. You have to be able to be there only for them. And it's a lot easier to do when you don't have to, you know? So and I think I've gone through that. Like in my 20s, that's certainly, you know, I was really, really chasing the performance aspect of the business and the closing. And then I made some financial errors at 26 and 27. I wish I could undo, like, for example, well, what would that be, Will? Well, I borrowed money to buy toys. Okay. I don't think that's a very wise thing to do. And you shouldn't be in debt to a toy. But I did. So I learned that lesson that stopped a lot of my financial freedom and independence and stopped me from doing other bigger things. When I was 28 years old, I decided I wanted to open a brokerage. It's crazy. All I really had, I can tell you, is a very, very competitive passion to do it. Okay. I was compelled to do it. I didn't have much else. I mean, I had 40 grand and 4 computers. That's how I started the brokerage, Rachel. It's nuts, right? And I think Rachel will tell you, like, please don't ever do that. If any of you ever wake up in the morning and go, I want to be a broker, and you should just come talk to me and then talk to Rachel. And then when you're done, we'll get you back on the straight and narrow. Okay. Look, it's a very, very challenging business. It's really, really hard and taxing. And I went through all that from 28 to 39. And at 39, I sold my company. And I promised my wife I would never, ever, ever be a principal broker again, ever. Okay. And then along came the Ronies. Changed everything. Oh man. You can tell I get a little nervous about it still to this day. Oh man. They sure, on a serious note, it's a completely different ball game, obviously. And I absolutely love my job and what I do. But when I told Tammy, I go, I guess I'm going to be the principal broker. She said, what? Are you kidding me, Cooper? That's when I'm in trouble, she uses my last name. That's just how it is. And I know to watch out. Anyway, but it's because I love the law, so I love this piece of it. The ownership and running the business, I like that too, but not when you have under 120 agents. So very, very challenging to do. But I learned a lot in that 10 years, an awful lot. I'd go back and do it completely different if I were compelled to do so. This brokerage, I sometimes I wish I wasn't the broker when I tell you guys this stuff, because it sounds self-serving. I don't mean it to be, but this is literally the best environment by far. Resources, tools, people, staff, ownership. It's so good. It's just so good here. So anyway, very, very happy with that now. But okay, so really good ideas here. We're going to wrap it up, maybe just do some takeaways before we call it a day. Thanks for spending time with me again this morning. Legal assets, really critical to your value. Study that, memorize it. I mean, really commit it to memory. Memorize those paragraphs, and you'll find yourself a lot better at communicating and presenting from the form. On the issue of transcending your challenge, whatever that is in life, and it could be a number of things, it may not be business at all. I would tell you that there's a way, and the path is sometimes very foggy, but it does clear. Things will work out, things will get better. You just keep trying to be a better version of yourself, work on you and improving the person that you are, and business goes right along with that, and people appreciate that. The ideas that we've had here today, these simple little things, they really matter. If you need reminders, the simplest thing to do is to go in your phone and calendar it and put it on repetitive, and make sure that that's a good way to start building habits, is just reminding yourself every day to do these things. The next thing that you need to study on the business aspect is going to be different answer for all of you. But please don't let another day go by without studying something that you need to sharpen your skills on. Just do a quick analysis of where you are, and then go learn that thing. Spend some time learning it. Okay. And you'll find that you'll be happy no matter what the day brings. I think when you're building yourself, you find happiness in that. So let's do some takeaways. I want one thing. Go ahead and hit your chat, and then we'll wrap it up. So go one thing that you're going to focus on. And thank you for the comments, you guys. Tara, happy you broke the promise. Rachel said, but you have a world of support in your. That's true, Rachel. That's so true. A world, yes. My previous world, not so much. And I know you relate. And congratulations, by the way, on your recent wedding. Congratulations. You deserve it. You're just such a great lady, and honored to have you part of Brookshire. Yeah, study. So thank you, Leslie. Go ahead and hit your ideas here, guys. This will be, your neurons will appreciate it if you type it in and put some action around it. So study. Need to make time for this. Yeah, just, it only, look, 15 minutes is still enough a lot of times. Study something. Jody, there is a way. Yeah, study and continue to learn. Yeah, I find the strength in someone else. You can find it in yourself. And Tara, gratitude, smile, very good. Work on my personal bests. I would love to hear about those. If you cross a finish line, I'd love to know what that is, and celebrate with you. Stacy, work on personal best. Nick, ask questions to smarter people. Okay, good. Keep it coming. I love the discovery, Nick. Yeah, the answers are usually around us, and people that are around us, they usually have the answer. And I love the humility. No matter how long it takes, you'll be able to find yourself and succeed. Thank you for that, Scott. Some of these journeys do take quite a while. Yeah. One business endeavor I started in 2008 took 10 years to realize enough out of that so I could say it was worth it. 10 years. It's still a joke in our family, so, but I won't bore you with that. But yes, yeah. A willing to appear naive. Humility is a huge key, Colton. It's so true. And by the way, for those who don't know Colton, when I got to know Colton in St. George, I thought his humility and willingness to, you just come in and say, look, I don't know a lot about this business. I want to, though, was a great way to start. You don't have to have the answers to every question to have fans, you guys. People can be a huge fan of yours. And remember, we talked about that word authenticity a while back and how important that is. And Colton, I thought you were very authentic and very humble, and I applaud you for that. Melinda, focus on little things. Yeah, they can really matter. Simple things take seconds to do. Be flexible on resources and how to learn to grow. Cecilia, very good. I like being flexible. That means, I don't take myself too seriously at times. So, don't miss the main thing. Sometimes we're so this way that we forget what's going on. So, show my buyers our legal assets. Thank you, Julie. Wow. It only took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Speaking my language, Julie. I love it. Okay, well, that's a lot today. 8 legal assets, 1 little victory, Neil Peart's story, little things matter. Thank you for joining me with coaching today. And thank you for being such good teammates to each other and great team members in Berkshire Hathaway. Do love each one of you. Honored to work and serve with you. And, I often get these, like a call on Sunday night on Labor Day weekend, and it was Jody Fay, and she says, Will, I'm so sorry to bother you. And I'm like, you're not bothering me. So call me anytime. If it's really, really late, always call Kevin Larson. He's not even on the call for me to tease him. Anyway, go ahead and stop recording, Joe. Thank you.